Hello everyone. Today I wanted to prepare a basically like a full crash course on how to move from industry to the classroom. So basically I put this guide together because the number one thing people come to me with when they are the industry professional, right? Like CPAs, lawyers, engineers, data scientists, childhood educators, community leaders, whatever your profession, if you've ever thought about teaching it in a post-secondary environment, colleges and universities when folks come to me or Professor Town and ask for help, the number one thing we hear is like, I don't really know how to get started or what I'm supposed to do. So this is a crash course to go literally from where you are right now, the expert in the space, to the front of the classroom. So I've listed it out in terms of literally every single step here, all the way to success on the job. So I'm going to walk through it now. Right, the first step really is to define what you're qualified to teach. So this is what we call your teaching zone, and it is honestly just an inventory. It starts with an inventory of your experience. Step one, audit your credentials. So like, what have you done? And this is like evidence-based, right? Like not like I am hoping to become a director. This is like I am currently. I have, managerial level experience. I have 10 years of experience in X field or Y field. Um, and list that out. Literally, like start with a Word document and start writing all this stuff out. Next, list any of your education that you have, right? Degrees, designations, certifications, anything you have like that, your CPA, your JD, your PMP, all that stuff. Write it all down. And then talk about your teaching experience. So what teaching experience do you have? And isolate that separately. So like, have you mentored juniors? Have you run workshops at work? Have you prepared training materials? Have you done conference presentations? All of that stuff listed out as well. Now, what you do as you look at all this together is you write out your course list. So basically, like this is the stuff that I think I can teach. And your goal is to write down 5 to 10 subject areas or specific courses that you could teach. And it's best to be specific rather than more general, right? Like if you're an accountant, yeah, you could teach at a business program, but like there's no course called business. And we'll get to why this matters in a second. But your job is to be specific. Like you can teach junior level audit courses, or you can teach first year contract law courses, or you can teach, junior, first or second year data science courses. You want to be as specific as possible. And then note for each one of those courses what of your experiences it maps to, right? So basically, this is I think I can teach intro to audit. And I think I can teach intro to audit because of my 10 years in audit. 3 of those years, I have mentored junior employees, and once my firm asked me to prepare a workshop. Right? You want to be very, very specific about the courses you can teach and why you'd be qualified to teach them. Next, what we need to do is map this, what we refer to as the teaching zone, to nearby institutions, right? So you can make a course list, but it honestly doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't do anything unless that course is actually taught by an institution. So it's really important that you map your kind of teachable expertise to the courses that exist at nearby institutions, right? One of the examples I've worked with in the past through Professor Town is there was somebody who was a healthcare data expert, right? So their expertise was like data science in the context of healthcare and medicine, but they were in a city that only offered kind of general data science courses, not this specific niche specialization of data science in healthcare. So you want to be able to map your teachable zones to the institutions. To the institutions that are like nearby or you're eligible to teach at, right? Like if you're happy to commute for 3, 4 hours, that's great. You just want to be specific. So you want to go through institutions nearby and look if they offer the courses that you are interested in teaching. So pull up an Excel sheet, institution name, your course, and maybe the course code itself. Then putting all this together, that really defines your teachable zone, right? So next, your job is to become a credible thought leader in that teachable zone. So you found out nearby that there's a bunch of schools that teach your intro to audit course, right? Audit is a quite a common accounting um, kind of sub-discipline. And so you now need to become a credible thought leader in that space, right? A professor is supposed to be a thought leader, supposed to be an expert. So how do you demonstrate that expertise? because communities and faculty will Google you, right? Like when I'm a hiring committee member and I'm talking to anyone, I will Google you. Make sure you give them something to find that establishes you as an expert in that space. And so, really, the homework here is to write a few articles in your teaching zone on LinkedIn or Medium or anywhere that you can publicly, share your work. Some people do it through a journal, right? Some people have published papers. Um, Most industry professionals don't. And so your goal is to really just share your experiences or, provide commentary on some new happenings in the field, just something, any 4 to 5 things that will establish you as an expert. So if I look you up and I read that, I think, oh, okay, like this is somebody who's done audit before, right? Or has deep experience in a certain topic. Um, and you just want to get it out there, right? Just done is the benefit of, perfect is the enemy of done, right? You don't want to try to make something perfect or amazing. It doesn't have to be revolutionary either. You can comment on somebody else's work as well. It just needs to be something public that is you talking about or commenting on or related to your field. Step number 4 is to network, right? So it's not called the ivory tower for no reason. In academia, most of these teaching roles are filled through the people the department knows, like friends, colleagues, people we've met at conferences, or people that have reached out to me. And so, who is it that you should contact? You want to look for department chairs and program directors and individual faculty members in your teaching zone. So that's why our first exercise was mapping to nearby institutions. And so your goal is to basically, like, let's say it's the healthcare and data science, and you look up nearby, and you find University of Toronto, and University of Toronto has like a healthcare and data science program. You want to find you want to find the department chair and program director of that department for that teaching zone. And then you want to reach out to them. Okay. You want to avoid the deans, you want to avoid HR because that's just not how academic hiring works. There's no like HR department for the faculty team. It is based on committee. So it's like faculty hiring committees, such as myself, get together to do the academic hiring. Okay, so you want to, yeah, so that's how faculty hiring works. And now, what should you say? You want to basically start with your practitioner angle, tell them a little bit about your background, name the courses or programs that you were interested in, and your goal is not to ask for a teaching job, right? That's the equivalent of asking to get married before the first date. You just want to have a conversation. You just want to say, I want to get to know, people in your department. I want to get to know people in the field and offer something of value to them. This can be in the form of project mentorship, right? I'm happy, for example, saying, hey, right, putting myself in the shoes of maybe a lawyer, I'm happy to maybe assist in marking some a project, or I'm happy to assist in the form of a guest lecture. I'm happy to share like a case study, just something that will make it easy for the faculty member to say, yes, like, sure, like, you can come and do this thing for us. And silence is the default. Silence is the norm, right? Most of the time, even with my best crafted messages from my clients or people that I work with or people in the Professor Town community, the best response rate is about like 30%. If you hit 50%, like that's crazy high. 30% is like the best I've seen. So literally being ignored is the norm. And you always want to follow up after about a week or 10 days. Right. And so hearing some common things you might hear are like, we don't have anything right now. That's okay. That means like just stay in touch, right? And if you asked properly for something of value that you're providing, there's no way that they won't say we don't have anything. There's no way that they'll say we don't have anything right now because you're not asking for anything. You're offering to provide something. Right. And so really the goal is to become the obvious person that they think of whenever they have something related to your teaching zone, right? Something related to your expertise. And so these openings happen very often. Like every semester, I need like about 5 to 7 experienced data science professionals for my class personally because I just want to bring that experience to the classroom, and so wouldn't it be nice if I had a roster to pick from, and if you were on that roster and a teaching need opens up, you're the first person I think of if I know that you're interested in that. So that's on the networking piece. Now next step is to prepare your CV and teaching philosophy. So pretty much as soon as networking begins, you're going to get asked to send your CV. The two, or some teaching or some materials, there are two things you need. One is the teaching philosophy, and two is an academic CV. There are guides on how to do this in our school community, right? So if I just show you that, so let me go over to the Professor Town School community, and if you go to classrooms, you can find trainings and guides on how to make those, like a teaching faculty CV guide, which is kind of what you, the industry professional, are looking for, or there is a guide on making a teaching statement, right? So you want to look at those two because AI does a very bad job, right? So you're going to want to make one from scratch, or at least do heavy refinements to anything AI makes. I review thousands of teaching philosophies and academic CVs every single year, and it's so obvious when it's AI written, and good ones use real examples from your experience, right? Good teaching philosophies. So prepare good versions of those documents, learn how to make those off the trainings, and there's some templates in there as well. So hopefully that is very useful. And then finally, once you've kind of gotten this ball rolling, what is going to happen is you'll be invited to apply, right? And you, alongside your application, you typically need to include what's called like a body of or evidence of teaching excellence. You probably don't have that if you don't have, lots of formal teaching experience where you got course evaluations. This is where it might be useful to prepare what's called a teaching demo, or just some sort of like quick lecture recording. Because if I need to see evidence of teaching excellence and you have none, and you don't include anything, well, then there's no way to earn points. Whereas if in your application, I'm reviewing it and there is a recording of you teaching and it's good, there's no reason for me not to want to have you in the classroom, right? And then it's also, I get a face to a name. It just gives you points where maybe you wouldn't have gotten them, right? Like maybe when we're recording, reviewing you on the rubric, you don't score too highly, but then there's a teaching demo here where I can actually see you teaching. Like there's just you're going to get points on that, unless you do a bad job, right? In that case, you shouldn't have gotten hired anyways. But if you do a bad job on the teaching demo, it'll hurt you. But a good teaching demo, and it's easy to tell if it's good. You just watch it yourself and ask yourself, like, did I do a good job? Like, would I want to be in this person's classroom? Um, and easy peasy. Um, and then next you got to win the interview, right? So a few mindset shifts, few tips I have. Academic interviews are a little different. There is an interview training here as well, academic interviews. So give that a watch. But essentially, um, your job is to just win the interview, right? Practice your lecture demonstration, practice interview questions, right? Practice. It's the number one tip I have. Just record yourself answering typical interview questions, and if you just watch yourself, it's you'll know if you're doing a good job. If you are, you'll just know. You watch it and you'll say, yes, I did a good job, or no, I didn't do a good job. Or join one of our office hours, right? So we do these every Sunday at 4 p.m. Join our office hours, and we're happy to go through that with you as well. Um, and so the other thing is a big mindset shift. So this is not a corporate interview. Leave the corporate stuff out the door. Forget about your KPIs. You want to be energetic, enthusiastic, and relentlessly student centric, right? So you don't want to talk about your board meetings. You don't want to talk about, or sorry, you do want to talk about that stuff, but you want to talk about how that will tie back to the classroom environment, right? Like, how does this benefit the students? That is the number one thing that your interviewers are caring about. So you managed a big asset portfolio. Great. You did 1,000, you won 1,000, court cases, or maybe you manage dozens of projects, but the faculty, you should just tie it easily to how this will help their students and how this will make you a great faculty member, right? Because we're thinking about, is this person going to be fun to work with? Is this person going to be collegial? Is this person going to be good for our students? Will they bring in the right experiences? Can they talk to our students, right? So it's like executives sometimes are way too high level. Like it would be hard for an undergrad student to understand often like how a CEO speaks, because it's just so high level. Um, High level meaning like in frameworks rather than tactical boots on the ground type work that a junior knows how to do. Now, the last thing is, um, while academia might be new for a lot of you, it is we're hiring a peer, not a junior, right? We want to know that um you are we're not going to have to take care of you too much. Like, of course there's some guiding, some training that's required, but like we're not hiring an intern, even the most junior faculty role. Like, we need a grown adult to come in because um you have to manage juniors, right, at the early start of their career. So it's basically like hiring a manager who can immediately take on like 70 direct reports, right? So it's a big responsibility, and s- you want to keep that in mind. So you want to come in with confidence and presence. You may feel imposter syndrome, totally normal. You need to project confidence anyway, right? Like, we know students will eat some people a lot. Like, we know students will eat some interviewers up. Um, so you need to project confidence and presence, and think of yourself like, okay, how do I present myself so that they will feel comfortable putting me in front of their students? And then finally, you want to just do a great job on the job, right? Your first semester is really important. Make sure you run good lectures, make sure you're fair and transparent in your assessments, respond to student emails within 24 hours, run mid-semester feedback survey. That's a really useful technique. Your ultimate job is to get good course evaluations and get acquainted with your colleagues. Those are the two things that will dictate your longevity in the academic world. The course evaluations will make sure that students call you back. Sorry, students like you, and that you're doing a good job. And this is that evidence of teaching excellence, right? So you're literally building your academic career. And it really compounds, right? Like, I now have 10 years of course evaluations that are like 4.5 or higher. Um, if I apply for a teaching role, I have a mountain of evidence that says I'm amazing at this job. You want to build the exact same thing, and get acquainted with your colleagues, right? You want to make sure that people like you and think of you positively for years to come, because you're likely to be at the same institution for many, many years, or you want them to speak favorably about you throughout the academic world. And it's a very tiny world that's difficult to break in. And so you want to make sure that everyone thinks positively of you as much as possible. And so, really, this is the entire roadmap. These are the steps to getting an academic role and succeeding in it. Especially if you're from the background of kind of that industry professional, like the CPA, the lawyer, the engineer, and the doctor, and so on and so forth. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, or just shoot me a DM.